you're going to have all kinds of little dwarves just out there doing all kinds of stuff, collecting coins for you. It's going to be fabulous.
Wait, what?
Are you excited about dwarves? Hi. Welcome to another edition of Tech Talk Tuesday. I'm Matt Ray, followed I normally say always with Neil Tardy, but you were here last week.
I was not. I was on vacation, and it was much needed and very nice.
It's okay. I hope you picked out a nice pair of socks while you were gone.
Oh, I did. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. This is where we try to cover some of the latest tech news in digestible bits. You know, anytime somebody says bits now, I feel like it's got a connotation. So maybe we just skip that and say, he didn't say it. Like, it's fine. He wasn't
I think you're reading into that a little too much.
Well, you're talking about your bits. Like, what are you doing? That's okay, though. And I guess with that, we'll jump right in and have some fun.
So the first article we have today is about Google, and they are no longer letting their developers charge for their Chrome extensions. So they had previously temporarily disabled the feature, but apparently they are now planning to make this permanent. So yeah, they can no longer, what this means is that developers can no longer rely on Google to handle the payments for their extension. So they will just have to find another way to do that, whether that's like a donation via PayPal or something like that. I believe that Google is not necessarily going to care, but I think that Google just does not want to handle the transactions for all of these extensions, which I don't personally use any paid extensions. Do you, Matt?
I don't. There's a couple that I have a premium option that I really like, but I have not given them any money. But I am working on an extension of my own right now that I was hoping to roll out. I was just going to put a Bitcoin address out there and tell people that if they sent me, for every Bitcoin they sent me, I would send them a 10x multiplier back just out of the goodness of my heart.
Right. Doubling money.
Just let the good times roll. Like, what can go wrong?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, this doesn't really do anything for me. I only use free extensions. I do. One thing I don't necessarily like about this is a larger company like not helping smaller devs with their passion projects, particularly when they're usually pretty specific to Google and their extensions. I don't necessarily like that too much, and this kind of just like feels a little icky to me, I guess, because yeah, I mean you're putting probably long-standing extensions at risk of not being able to continue to grow and add feature sets and really make the Chrome browser a great experience for a lot of users, right? Which feels like it would like benefit Google at some point, but apparently it's not enough, right?
Yeah, I think it's the continued devaluation of kind of quality software too, right? Like it's more of like the freemium, but without the IUM at the end now. Like it's free or nothing really, unless they want to figure out kind of their own kind of payment process thing, as you mentioned. So, yeah, that kind of stinks, man. Anything that would bring a direct more value, I guess, and encourage the understanding of that value of the software that people are writing. I'm a huge fan of, but such is the world that we live in. But I think more importantly, you have to ask yourself, where would I get the best luxury mid-size sedan?
Yeah.
Like, where are these? I don't know why I'm being targeted for some of these ads. I just find it interesting.
Particularly when you have a Tesla, you're definitely not in the market for a van.
This isn't a guy who's been shopping for cars lately. So I just think that's interesting. In other news, a former YouTube content moderator. Now, this is like a string of many really out there in the world. So we got another one that's suing after developing symptoms of PTSD. This is actually kind of a growing issue, and we've seen this. I think Facebook has been hit by this, like a lot of industries where they're doing heavy content moderation, particularly around pretty graphic content, right? So you think about what these people kind of are exposed to as part of their day-to-day job. And I love the internet, right? I love the internet just as much as anybody, but I got to tell you, I don't want to sit around and be exposed to like the weird random crap that I know people are posting and like you see leak every now and then, like, oh, this made it before somebody could take it down. And like some like jihadi beheading stuff. And like, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that frankly, if I want to go see a snuff film, well, I didn't have a follow up to that because I never want to go see a snuff film.
I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah. I got this guy Bill that I can call, and we go in his garage. And no, I just it's really disappointing. And that the lawsuit. What's interesting is the lawsuit is actually for, I'm going to say like 7.5. Gosh, it was a huge. You know what? I can't find the number, but it was a huge lawsuit. Yeah, here we go. An earlier suit resulted in Facebook paying $52 million to moderators who develop PTSD. As a result of their work. Some of the charges being laid against them is that during the training process, they said, well, you can cover your eyes or leave the room. But you think about when you're like a fresh employee somewhere and someone says that, you think, well, gosh, if I leave though, am I really kind of forfeiting my opportunity here? And the answer is probably yeah, right? Like, I think the answer is probably yeah, because that's what you're there for. Really no focus on kind of wellness or resiliency and kind of just, looking out for people's like general wellness. And they tell people like, okay, well, like you really shouldn't be looking at graphic content for more than 4 hours a day. I want you to really let that sink in.
Yeah, like 4 hours is a long time, right? Like that's just ridiculous.
I mean, that's like a torture mechanism, right? Like you see it in movies where they like keep the guy's eyeballs open and they're like feeding these images. Yeah, I mean that, I don't know. So no big surprise here. It kind of sucks. It is interesting. I think we actually talked about this at one point that a lot of companies are now employing AI to kind of go out and proactively seek out some of this content and weed it out in advance. So here's hoping.
Yeah, but YouTube's actually rolling that back. I saw an article this week that YouTube's actually, because it's not as accurate as they would like it to be, they're actually rolling that back and increasing human moderation again. Yeah, so I mean, so Facebook got away with this for like 52 million. I mean, I think we're going to see a similar number here. Yeah. I mean, I don't see a way that they can get around it with a legal precedent already set. But yeah, I mean, this is why we want AI to be able to take care of some of these things, because we should not be exposing other humans to these types of things, right? Yeah. I think most of us would, hopefully almost all of us agree on that, or all of us agree on that. But yeah, I mean, this just sucks, man. Like, I'm really disappointed in YouTube, and I understand that AI cannot replace a human moderator, but we can get darn close, I think. And one of the things that we were praising, YouTube for in this recently was that they were overdoing it on this, and that we should take more precaution than not in these types of cases, and it just feels like they're really kind of rolling that back,
for sure,
in a negative way in my mind. And so, like, yeah, I mean, I don't like to see these types of things, but I'm also glad that people do feel like they can whistle blow and speak up and say, hey, like, they're not doing what they're saying they're doing, and like they need to be better. Yeah, so I mean that's a positive, but they shouldn't have to do that, right? So
agreed. Well, who knows? Maybe this is a chunk of cash that will talk them into going back to the drawing board with the AI, because I think something's got to give. Or maybe here's a crazy idea: stop posting like junk, like stop posting like awful, terrible stuff on the internet, people.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. You're not going to stop.
Well, in huge gaming news, Microsoft has acquired Bethesda Studios, Bethesda Softworks, excuse me, parent company ZeniMax, which means that they now own Bethesda. If you don't know who Bethesda is, they are the creators of such titles such as Fallout and Elder Scrolls, such as Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion, and we have been teased with Elder Scrolls 6, even if it was just a still. So Yeah, this is like huge, like tidal wave news in the gaming areas. Yes, Logan, it is super hype. Well, I think it's hype. But yeah, so Bethesda was acquired, or ZeniMax rather, was acquired for 7.5 billion, and yes, you heard that with a B, in cash. So that is absolutely bonkers. I can't remember. I was reading something recently. Like Microsoft acquired another company for like 4 billion or something like that. But they decided to acquire Bethesda and ZeniMax for 7.5 billion, which again is really, really crazy. But a lot of people are thinking that this is a race for exclusives on their platforms because PlayStation and Sony have typically owned that sector very well. Their exclusives are typically better on their console systems, and with all of the consoles getting ready to launch here soon, actually pre-orders have started for Xbox. I think they started today. So, but yeah, so I mean, a lot of people are saying that Microsoft has come out and said that they're not going to mess with anything that Bethesda is doing, which is I think a positive thing because Bethesda has a pretty cult following.
Particularly with to some PlayStation exclusives, right? They're saying like they're at least allegedly, right? They're coming out and they're saying like, hey, we don't have any plans to kind of mess with those exclusives or any kind of planned releases on other consoles, but that they're going to take it kind of on a case by case basis moving forward.
Yeah, so they're going. So Bethesda has already announced 2 upcoming PlayStation and PC exclusives. Microsoft says they're going to honor those. So they're going to honor those contracts, which is good. And then they said, like you said, future games will come on a non-Xbox platform, so PC, PlayStation, Nintendo, on a case-by-case basis, which is a nice way of saying they probably won't.
It's a little crazy to think, by the way, that we're going to see next-gen consoles start dropping like later this year. Like that's just wild to me.
Yeah,
that seems like I don't know, like not even on the horizon, and here we are.
I mean, it feels like what? Not too long ago, I was buying my Xbox One, right?
Right.
And now I'm looking at buying an Xbox, the newest generation of it, right? But yeah, no. So this is really cool. I think it's cool that gaming is becoming a recognized like media form, and I think it has for a long time. But there's actually real money behind this now, which is. And not to say that anything under $7.5 billion isn't money, right? But like this is like a huge acquisition. This is kind of like the biggest and largest of its kind for this industry. And yeah, I mean, I hope the cash injection and Microsoft really gets behind Bethesda so they can make some really cool games. Not to say that they haven't already. Skyrim obviously has had so many remakes; it's ridiculous. And has a huge modding community behind it. But yeah, no, this is really cool to me. I really like to see. I don't know if I like to see it, but because I like independent companies and I don't necessarily want all the tech giants to continue to acquire everybody. But yeah, it's just cool that the gaming industry in general is at this point for me.
Yeah. Any concerns here?
I think the biggest concern is that Microsoft gets in the way, right? I think we've seen that a little bit with when they acquired Bungie for a while, and then Bungie said, nope, we're done with this, which then led to 343 Games and Halo taking over the Halo franchise because Microsoft owned that at that point. Yeah, I mean, and Bungie could just be a different kind of breed, right? Because they had problems with Activision as their publisher too. So, and I like Bungie, right? So yeah, so maybe that's just a Bungie thing, but I think that's my biggest concern is that Microsoft tries to insert itself into the process. I think the console wars and exclusive war thing that's kind of going on, I'm not super concerned about it, to be honest. If they think that they can make more money via like releasing it on both platforms, they will. Like that Elder Scrolls 6 being on like PC and Xbox only is going to make people like go buy an Xbox. I just don't see that because I wouldn't personally. I'd just wait for a PC launch and then just play it on my PC. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm not super concerned about that kind of stuff. I like good games. I like games, and good games cost a lot of money, right? So, or usually large AAA games cost a lot of money to make. And so if someone's willing to put money behind it, I'm all for it because it gives people like you and I, so like engineers and devs, like our livelihood and everything. So like, cool. I'm cool with that, you know?
Yeah. A little fun fact, I just saw that id Software, which has been around seemingly like forever in gaming. I didn't realize that they were kind of part of the Bethesda sub-studio kind of family. So that's interesting that they are kind of part of that collection, as are so many. But no, this is good. Definitely something we'll want to watch. And but I'm excited to see kind of what comes of it. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. I think people will point a lot to the next round of games that Bethesda puts out and their sub-studios put out. And if they aren't good, they're going to start pointing the finger at Microsoft and saying like, oh, this is why they're not good. When it could just be the game itself wasn't good, right? Sure. The process wasn't good. Microsoft could have nothing to do with it. So I think that that's the risk that Microsoft runs because of the rabid fan base that Bethesda has. And I mean, justifiably, right? They've made some really good games in the past, and created some really cool universes. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Personally, I'd like to see something Elder Scrolls 6 related soon. I know that I think it was last year they teased that image, which is basically just like, yes, it's coming. We probably haven't started working on it yet. But yeah, just an update on that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that I'm expecting it anytime soon, but I don't know, just to keep the hype train going.
I'm expecting it playable on the Nintendo Switch by next month.
Yeah.
So, I'll hold my breath.
Yeah, we'll definitely get it in the next generation of consoles, though. But I think that they may wait a little bit because typically what we see with consoles, like we've talked about before, is that as the console generation continues to mature, games get better on it, and because developers figure out exactly what they can do with the software and hardware within the system. So yeah, I don't think it'll be immediately, but I do think that we'll get it probably within the first couple years of the generation.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so with that, that's all we have for today. So thank you, Yeet Games and Logan, for joining us live today. We love to see you guys. Feel free to comment while you're here, and we will try and address any questions that you guys have. But yeah, so if you would like to join those two live, you can find us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, I believe, is where we stream it all.
We're on all the places.
So yeah, you can catch us on any one of those platforms. You will be seeing over the next coming weeks some changes to the stream, such as new graphics, to actually promote where we are on all of our social media platforms. You can see Matt and I have added our Twitter handles to our names. So if you want to follow all of our random musings, which is a little scary to think about, particularly with Matt, go ahead and give us a follow there. And while you're at it, go ahead and follow Techness because we will post our thoughts on big news that comes up throughout the week. And yeah, so just go ahead and share it with your friends too. We're always looking to find new friends and talk with them about tech things because we're nerds and we love it. Yep, exactly. Push those glasses up. And yeah, so with that, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. So about these dwarves, talk to me. Tell me how this works.
You got Gimli. You got like people they're gonna go mining It's going to be so good.